Tuesday, January 27th, 2025. Six, thank you. In attendance tonight, we have Jim Bryant here, Kayla Anderson
here,
Jeremy Koenig here, Teresa Bjornstad
here,
Rachel Schoenfelder
here,
Jennifer Tift
here,
Superintendent Joshik here, and myself, Ryan Reister. Jeremy, would you please be as kind to read the vision statement?
Okay. Red Wing Public Schools cultivates an inclusive learning community where each student develops the knowledge, skills, and character needed to thrive as an engaged citizen, innovative thinker, and compassionate leader in an interconnected world.
All right. Before the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to take a moment just to recognize all the students, staff, and community members that have chosen to join us tonight. So welcome everyone, and feel free to join in for public comment if necessary, and applaud our students here for the student showcase. So please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Start off, do I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
Prior to that, Mr. Chair, just a note, so number 7 was added after your initial agenda was sent out. And then we are going to forego item number 3, the committee's assignments at this time. We're going to take care of that next month. Motion to approve the amended agenda.
second,
All right, motion by Jim Bryant, seconded by Ms. Bjornstad.
Holy cow, it's a great day.
Let's do a roll call vote to approve the agenda. Rachel, how do you vote?
aye,
Jennifer?
aye,
Jim?
Aye.
Kayla?
Aye.
Jeremy? All right. Therese?
aye,
And I will also vote aye. Resolution passes to approve the agenda. First up here, we have got a pile of students here, so we're gonna open this up for the student showcase.
Doesn't look like a pile, it looks like a nice group.
So, would you please introduce yourselves and your students and how you represent?
I'm Kaylee Wenstrom. I'm Jen Dierks. We're both 4th grade teachers, and the 4th graders this year did a project hosted by the Minnesota Zoo called the Zooms Project. Every year the zoo chooses a animal that the kids get to compete and make projects to enhance their enclosures at the zoo. So they all made enrichments, and a lot of them were chosen to further have their projects sent to the zoo now, and the zoo will decide who they want the kids to come back and present their projects. And they have like a big award ceremony. It's really cool. So we have one project per class to show you guys, and the kids can just describe what their project is and why it would help a California sea lion. So, Preston, do you want to start? Okay.
Pull up another chair if you want.
We got
I'm Preston from Mrs. Schneider's class. The enrichment will be called Pirates Caribbean. I worked with 3 other members to create this project. After researching California sea lions, we made this project so that the sea lions would have something to stimulate their minds to avoid boredom. This is how our enrichment works. They can swim into here, and there's ice in there that they can eat and play with. And they can also swim through this tube up here, just for fun.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Roland Nunn. I made like a basketball hoop for the sea lions. They toss it into the hoop and it'll roll back out so they can get it again and keep doing it. And it'll keep them energized and have something for them to do by using their arms.
Thank you. It's a long shot. Take a shot, move it.
Absolutely.
Oh. Good job.
Hi, my name is Lincoln from Mrs. Alva's class. The design will be called the Big Sock, and it would be hanging over the water, and there would be a little ball you would try and throw in the hole, and then the sea lions would bring it back to you.
Very good. Thank you.
Hi, I am Arya Saitnakam, and this design is called Octo the Octopus. What they would do with it is that you'd put fish in through this hole at the top, and then there would be holes in the tentacles, and then they'd have to bite it and throw it around so then the fish can come out through the holes. It's kind of like a trainer for the upside world.
Very nice. Well done.
Hi, my name is Remy Glover. Our group decided to make the kelp feeder. You can hang it and the sea lions can swim through it and try to find the food.
Very good. That's the colors.
I am Lucy from the swim class. The prototype will be called the cool fish. It is a salmon, and what you do with it is you put sea lion cheeks through the mouth, and then when the sea lions bite it, then they'll taste the cheeks, and it helps them stay active and moving, and it's helpful because they fight over food, so they can practice with this to not fight over food.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, if we could, we're going to amend everybody. So Ryan.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Stick around for the rest of the week. Send the whole board if you wish. So we'll come back over here. Hey, guys, would you guys please come back over here so we can take a picture of you real quick? And then, Mr.
With your
Reeskers has
stuff.
certificates for you too. Bring your stuff over here. I would be in the email newsletter on your weekend. All right, we'll get these handed out to you, so just kind of line up, see, let them get a little taller and I get you in the back, not everybody gets, there you go. Slide over here, right out in front, thanks for coming out, that's cool, thank you. Wow.
Perfect. I do have one question. What if the sea lions like hockey more than basketball? What are we gonna do about that?
It's a good question.
Okay, everybody good there, Ann?
Yep.
Okay.
One. All right, everyone look. Thank you.
Okay, we gotta get your certificates, guys.
Okay.
Ruby, right here. Lincoln, right here.
Brandon. Right there. Preston. And Roman. There you go. And Aria.
There you go. Thank you so much for coming. guys.
Hey, great job.
Good job. All right, you guys can scoot back over to your folks.
Thank you. Thank you. You did a fantastic job.
Great
Don't
job,
tell you
great job, guys.
Thank
Stay
you. I just
warm
don't-
in this cold weather. Thank you for bringing them in.
Thank you.
Very nice.
All that.
All right.
That room store, you did a nice job.
All right. Next up, I don't believe we have anyone for public comment. Doesn't appear to. So with that, we will move on to recognitions and upcoming events.
Okay, so, I guess a couple things here just of note, because of some of the things that have, we've got a few things that had to be canceled because of things that have been going on up in Minneapolis. So the one thing that was supposed to be coming up here shortly that had to be, it ended up being canceled entirely is the Minnesota Music Educators Conference. If you'll recall, last year we had our choir that was all up there. That ended up being entirely canceled. We've had a few field trips that are coming up that we've had to at least take a look at. So there's a few things that have had to be adjusted there. As far as, activities and things, there's a lot of activities, as always, going on. Like tonight here now, we've got a girls' basketball game that's getting underway here shortly. The boys are in Owatonna. We have swim and dive again. We have a diver there who's performing at a level that's at the top of the state overall, Zach Mickelson. Swim team is doing well. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are ultimately going on. They just finished up the production at the Sheldon Theater over the weekend. Cooler temperatures probably limited attendance there a little bit, but overall it was well attended. It sounded like overall that went off without a hitch. There weren't any difficulties there. Kids did a really, really good job with that, as they always do. It's a lot of time and effort that goes into putting on those productions, so it really is just a credit to everybody who's involved with those. I think those were the kind of the primary things that I could think of off the top of my head, but if anybody has anything else. So, girls hockey tournaments are coming up here now. Ms. Grove, is that next week already?
Sure, we have 2 more away games on Thursday and Saturday, and then next Wednesday,
Yep.
we'll already have sections.
Yep, so winter sports are coming to an end, which is really something. So time goes very quickly.
All right, any more recognitions, upcoming events? Let's move on to the administrative report, please.
Okay, so on the administrative reports, you have those for you. Big thing that we want to make sure the community is aware of is preschool registration is open, so we want to, get in contact with the folks at Cobble. Right now, there's seats in most of the classes, but those do end up filling up. ECFE, the brochures and things have been sent out, so they're really getting, here it is, it's January, but we're heavily involved into preparing for kids next fall. At Sunnyside, they've been working on some of their assessments and different things. They've got a spring fundraiser called the Apex Fun Run coming up in February. Excuse me. Then the first graders are going to enjoy a visit from Sustainable Safari. So that's this week here now. So that's coming along here. Again, throughout the system, fast bridge testing has been going on, seeing how our students are ending up, the progress that they're making. Burnside also, Apex Dance Party Remix is going to be here the first couple weeks in February. And kind of all the way, really kind of all the way through. As far as activities, one notable thing, Kirby Hansen, one of our teachers, was honored with the Officials Award for his years of service to the region, particularly officiating wrestling. And if you know Kirby, you know that he's not only officiating wrestling, he does other things for us throughout the year. Very, very valuable, as all of our teachers are. It's not often that people are always fully recognized for all the work that they do as teachers. There's a lot of extra jobs that get done and taken care of on a regular basis, and we really appreciate it. Because if you look at any of our activities here, we have, whether it's somebody announcing or somebody who is taking care of the score clock or the table, all of those things require people, and staff end up doing those. So that's really, and then also notably, Hallie Johnson was selected by Region 1AA committee for this AAA winner. So there's a banquet coming up in March. I don't know at this point here if there was a boy who was nominated. At this point, I don't see anything. But the AAA program is really a wonderful program. It's arts, athletics, and academics. So we're looking for well-rounded students who are very active in the things that they're working along there. So those would be kind of the primary pieces.
I think Red Wing did have a boy that was nominated, but Hallie actually won the whole, she's
that?
the winner for the whole
Region.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I read that wrong. Thank you for,
Yeah, so she was our nomination, but then also won.
sorry. So, okay, thank you for clarifying. I missed that. So those are again, some of the big things. There's, just a lot of stuff that's going on all the time.
One other recognition to go back on to, I think we should recognize Neil Hammer for his award with
That'll
third
be,
grade kindness club. Who was the news anchor that came
So
down?
Steve Hartman
Steve Hartman.
Steve Hartman has been working with Kindness 101 for a long time.
Okay.
And Neil is the inaugural Kindness 101 Teacher of the Year.
So there's a recognition ceremony that's coming up in Iowa. What's the date on that?
Friday, April 17th.
So we'll have a little bit more information as that comes along.
I just want to allude to it, and you added a lot here, I get it. But one of our retired teachers, Craig Ubeling, was also awarded
Yes.
a Kerwin Engelhardt Award of Merit. I mean, Mr. Ubeling is Mr. Ubeling. We all love Red. He's probably forgotten more about basketball than most of us know. So congratulations to him too.
Yeah, thank you. All right. That's pretty good. Anything more on the administrative reports? All right, committee updates.
Negotiations, we settled with one of the teachers, and it's before you tonight. Very briefly.
And I'll just I went to the LMC committee tonight here, and not too much to report on other than it seems like everyone seems to be very content with Kavira. Yep. So
What?
Kavira, they're out.
The Kavira Health, the online health.
Not happy with the rates of the insurance.
I think, yeah.
Those are extremely high.
So, all right. Consent agenda and donations and grants. So we'll move forward into the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by Jennifer Tiff, seconded by Rachel Schoenfelter. I'll start off with Therese.
Aye.
Rachel.
Aye.
Jennifer.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Kayla.
Aye.
Jeremy. Aye. And I will also vote aye. Resolution to approve the consent agenda passes. Donations and grants.
So if you'd like to take a quick look at the page there, it's a little bit more lengthy this time, but we'll read through those because people who are taking time to donate to us, they should be recognized. So American Legion Post 54, $200 for the Twin Bluff Middle School student enrichment. Warwick Construction, $200 for the Burnside ILF fund. Warwick Construction, $200 to Sunnyside Elementary. North Costco, Minneapolis, fabric for the production of Once Upon a Mattress valued at $802. An anonymous donation, approximate value between $3,500 and $4,500. There's lamps and lighting hardware and a bunch of different pieces that will help feed into the little theater. So those are all very nice. Tim and Barb Haley Family Giving Fund, $1,000 to the robotics team. Quick Trip, they donated 30 chicken sandwiches, 30 cheeseburgers, value about $120 to lunch at Kids Junction. That was really a nice gesture that day. It was unprompted and it really was genuine, so that was very nice. Reese Refrigeration, $500 to the Red Wing Trap team. Kelly Jo Dwyer, $100 worth of art books to the art department. Knobelsdorf Electric, valued at a little over $15,500. Labor, materials, and equipment towards the solar project. Man Meter Electric, valued at $3,000, solar panels and materials. And Mike Hartman, $100 to the Red Wing Girls Basketball Program. So you can see the variety of gifts that people have given, the areas where they've come from, whether it's in arts, activities, into our CTE programs. So all of those things are very, very valuable and greatly appreciated.
All right.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as submitted.
Second.
All right, motion by Jim Bryant, seconded by, or I'm sorry, motion to accept the donations and grants by Jim Bryant, seconded by Rachel Schoenfelter. Any discussion on that? All right, Jim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kayla?
Aye.
Jeremy? Aye. Therese?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
And I will also vote aye. Resolution to accept the donations and grants passes. Finance update under superintendent report.
So with the finance update, we got a lot that we're going on with the budget here. We did have a finance committee meeting here a week ago to review this stuff. The bulk of that is gonna be when we get to the budget. What I would like to direct your attention though to is the preschool survey that you've got here. So Ann just handed that out. Ann, can you get that up on the screen just so people can kind of see? So with this, so this is a draft, this has not been sent out, but this is where we're headed with this. So what we want to do is we want to gauge support for preschool reconfiguration that we've kind of been talking about. So what we're trying to, again, determine is there a desire or support within the general community to help expand our preschool offerings? So, because if this is one of those deals that if nobody's really interested in it, then it's a lot of work for nothing, so we don't want to go through that. But I do think that we will end up having support. So there's just a little statement there at the top that I'd like you to just take a second and read. So on here, strong schools and a strong community are closely connected. How well children are prepared for kindergarten affects not only families, but the long-term success of schools, the workforce, and the community as a whole. Currently, district data shows that fewer than half of students entering kindergarten are assessed as fully ready, and a large number of students receiving early childhood services require additional support. So the Red Wing Public Schools is seeking community input. Now, this is not just for school families. This is a community-wide piece that we're seeking input for. So how young children in our community are prepared for kindergarten, how families experience early childhood and childcare options, and what opportunities exist to improve school readiness for our youngest students. This is, and we got a different version, don't we?
Correct.
So we've made some edits to this, but you're gonna get the gist of it. I noticed when I read that part that that was a little bit different, but the vast majority of this is pretty similar. I grabbed the wrong version, my apologies. So first off, we're not doing about the how did you end up hearing that survey. We are seeking input on their age. Are you within the Red Wing School District boundaries? If so, do you live in town or do you live in a rural area? Are you a Red Wing employee? Because we end up, sometimes surveys within a school can be heavily skewed towards people who work within the school. There's a connection there about, how do you fit in there? Do you have children that are under age 5? Are you the guardian or parent of a school age child? Are you an employer? So there's some questions that go around that basic demographic piece that are in there. And then, so on this, we wanted to gauge, again, kind of familiarity. How much do you know about what options you have for early childhood opportunities here? On some of this, does it matter as far as whether or not kids are deemed ready for kindergarten? So what we want to do is just, again, kind of gauge this. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up getting this sent out to the families. It's going to be open for a period between 2 and 3 weeks. Again, that's going to be available to anybody. We had at one point considered sending out postcards reminding people or noting that was going to come out. We decided not to do that because the cost to send that out is about $10,000. So we feel that we can reach people through our regular channels. Really, when we talked with folks who put this together or helped us with this, they said that if we end up with a 2 to 3% response rate, that's really pretty good. For all the families that we have out there, that amounts to about 400 responses, and we feel that we can do better than that. We can get the word out there, and we're going to be able to get a pretty good representative sample.
Is it just a question, the usual channels? So this isn't going to be mailed then? We're going to do this
No,
electronically?
this is all done electronically, so there'll be a link to it, where they can put their stuff in and then go from there.
If it's going to be on the Red Wing Public Schools, are you thinking about doing social media on the Facebook page? Make sure that's public so we can do the, it can be shared for, so sounds like you have that taken care of. So. All right. Yeah, of course.
What are the planned ways to send it out? Will people who are,
What?
go to school here get it in emails
And now
or,
we're not.
and then what about the
Where
rest
does
of the
this change?
community?
It's on the website, it says 5:30, right? Show them it's on the website, 5:30. right now.
Can you please go in the hall?
Go in the hallway, please.
Why don't we take a little pause?
Yeah, let's pause for a second.
Don't pause that, let's stay like a minute. Y'all are funny.
How are we planning on reaching the people that don't have families then, the older population?
So there'll be an article in the newspaper.
Okay.
There will be the newsletter that goes out to everybody. It'll be on our Facebook pages, and any place else.
We're gonna have the radio, we will be having flyers that we're gonna hang in, schools. We're going to be sending out, we have a list of civic groups, so that we'll be sending it to them. And, it will be, I hope, the plan is to have it in the chamber newsletter, as well as, we have a new group I'll tell you about some other time, the Gooding County Communication Association. I'm hoping that the city and the county will also be helping us. This will be our first test run, so I can't promise, but that's what the plan was. And then I can have some postcards, cards made for you that you guys could just pass out if you see somebody somewhere. They could be just like little business cards or whatever, if people like something like that. But we have a pretty comprehensive plan to get it out as much as possible to everyone.
Like a paper copy too, so for people that don't have maybe access to computers or
That,
like that.
They gotta mail them in.
Well, I don't know, I'm just thinking like of my grandpa's not very good at computers.
yeah, that's a little bit hard to address. I mean,
They assume they're gonna remain anonymous, right?
yeah.
At least that's the intention.
Yeah. You know, I guess we'd like to believe that for the most part, people will be able to access the technology to be able to fill those out.
Are we intending on making the link at the very homepage of our website versus having to navigate in 2 or 3 pages?
It'll be very prominent.
For instance, on the e-learning day, people will get used to it, but when we had the alert at the top, if you clicked on that e-learning day, it would have taken you right to the e-learning day.
Perfect.
And then when the schools closed, it went directly to an article that said schools closed because of the cold.
Okay.
Thank you. I can attest to that because I checked, I did both of those things
Thank you.
both times.
All right.
It works.
All right. Any further discussion on that? Looking forward to survey came out and everything else, so, as the superintendent alluded to, we're gonna move back to public comment here. There was a little oversight, so I think we have one person that wants to speak publicly.
If you're ready, I can take that. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's.
All right, that was what?
You speak publicly?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm gonna read this off here. The school board would like to provide interested community members an opportunity to provide appropriate public comment. We seriously consider all questions and concerns presented, but we follow protocols to ensure orderly operation of the meeting and the development of an appropriate response. Public may provide comment in person and sign in upon arrival. The following guidelines will be followed during public comment. We expect the comments be limited to 3 minutes per person and that a representative be selected to speak on behalf of a group of individuals attending the meeting for the same topic. School board members will listen to public comment, but will not discuss the topic at the meeting. The superintendent and/or school board chair may provide a response outlining steps the school district has taken or will take to address the concerns. A summary of the school district's actions in response to public comment will be provided to the school board, individuals submitting public comment, and/or public at a later date as appropriate. Number 3, we expect that comments remain respectful and appropriate and not identify any current or former students, their families, or staff members by name. Amber, I'll start the 3 minutes when you're ready, and when it gets to 30 seconds, I'll raise my hand.
I don't need you to do that because it kind of like throws me off, so if you could not do that and I've timed it to 3 minutes.
Not timed to 3 minutes?
No, I said it, I've timed it to 3
Okay.
minutes already,
All right.
so when you do that, I already get interrupted enough, so it throws me off, so
Gotcha.
thanks. All right, this morning and yesterday morning, I had several scared people reach out to me to tell me that ICE was at bus stops around town. They reported masked men stalking bus stops. You and I both know that they were armed. Another parent reached out to get advice because their child was devastated because their favorite classmate was saying that they were moving back to Mexico. And another child's parents told me that their kid told their brown child that ICE was going to come get them. The family has been here for 3 generations, mind you. Kids are taunting them with deportation, taunting them with the same thing that happened to 5-year-old little Liam Bramos last week. All this is going on during the last couple of weeks as I'm in the cities as much as possible, protesting, speaking, posting to raise awareness, trying to protect people in our town, while still trying to spend some time at home to keep things as normal as possible, making supper and doing dishes. It's an insane timeline to live in. I came here tonight not to address the school board, but to talk to parents. I think I'm justified that at this point I have zero faith in the board as a whole, but I still have faith in you parents. I want to suggest to parents banding together to watch over the bus stops, regardless of political affiliation, because this is not political, this is humanitarian. Get up off the couch. Be aware of what these tyrants drive. Buy whistles, blow them when you see them, especially at bus stops, or set off your car alarm in the comfort of your own home when you see them targeting your neighbors and the children. But at least warn people. I understand if you're scared, I get that because I am too, but you'll be more scared when it's your turn too, don't you think? And I feel like I really shouldn't have to give the school board a history lesson about why that's relevant, but if you need me to though, I will, so let me know. Also, I don't think that I forgot what else has happened. Justice delayed is justice denied. In the meantime, while waiting for news from the MDHR, many other incidents have occurred, including the most recent one being my 7-year-old was attacked and beat up on the bus. Even the bus company said that my kid was not provoking anyone, proving once again that what I've been saying about Red Wing having a bullying issue that is out of control. Kind of like that racist quiz you guys attempted to make all the targeted kids erase and cover up. Don't think that you're ever going to get away with that with my child. But what happens in the dark is always going to come to light, believe that. Also, the NAACP sent you guys a formal letter and you guys haven't responded, and I'm wondering why. I want to close by saying I forgive you all for interrupting me at the last meeting. Truly, I understand that sometimes scared people focus on the smallest things that they can control when the bigger issues feel uncomfortable. But while you were focused on stopping my words, I was trying to speak about transgender students who are already struggling to feel heard and feel safe. The difference in priorities is exactly why I show up here still speaking. Thank you. Ice out of Minnesota.
Thank you.
Paige, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay, good evening. My name is Paige Caswell. I have 2 students who attend the Red Wing School District, and I'm really nervous, so forgive me. I live, work, and volunteer here. Some of the children impacted by what's happening right now are kids I used to coach, kids I know and care deeply about. I'm here tonight because the community needs to hear what's happening right now because silence allows the harm to continue. Last fall, my minority son was directly impacted by a racially harmful quiz that circulated the school district. The high school. What may have been minimized or brushed off by some was experienced very differently in our home. For my child, it was another reminder that he is seen as other, even in a place that is supposed to be safe. At the same time, there's a real fear in our community. With ICE activity in and around our town, families are scared. Children are afraid to stand at the bus stops. One morning a few weeks ago, I gave a child a ride to school because he was too afraid to wait for the bus. Unmarked cars with masked men had been sitting nearby. His mother later said to me, "We feel like we're being hunted." No parent should ever have to say that, and no child should ever have to feel unsafe simply by trying to get to school. Because of what is happening right now, I've also taken my son to get an ID, not because he's driving or traveling, but just in case he's racially profiled. No parent should have to think that way about their child or have the conversations that we've had to have. Something has to change, and that change starts when we're willing to look honestly at ourselves, have the hard conversations, and stand up, not just when it's easy, but when it's necessary. Our children grow up together here. They learn together, they play on the same fields, and they sit in the same classrooms. What one child experiences does not stay with just that child. It shapes the culture that we are all creating. That makes their well-being a shared responsibility, whether they are our own children or not. Our children are watching. Let's show them what doing the right thing looks like. Thank you.
You did at the district, we did send out an email.
Next time, if you guys change the time, will you shoot me an email at least?
All right. Just for the record, we have an organizational meeting every year where we set the time for the meeting. We changed it this year, but is it our responsibility to let everybody in the community know when it is? It's like it's everybody's community. If they're interested in the school board functions and the meetings, it's certainly their responsibility to reach out to see when the meeting has changed.
In part, it was because there was a variety of different things on.
I get that, and we'll correct those.
Yes.
Thanks for pointing them out, but we're not gonna be somebody that has to let somebody know a group of people all the time when something happens. So we're open government, we're transparent right here, we do everything, been wide open, and we appreciate public comment, but we also appreciate that everything that was going on here in the schools too. That's really positive.
Correct. Thank you, Jim. All right, so back to the business items here. So
The first one is this resolution directing the administration to make recommendations regarding reduction and or discontinuance of programs and positions. So every year on an annual basis, as we're going through things, we have to look at the number of students that we have, the number of teachers that we have, the number of people all the way across the board. It is not a guarantee that there's going to be any recommendations or any kind of reductions, but if there are, this is a required resolution that is the first part of the process. So right now, I don't anticipate that we're gonna have significant changes in our, or reductions that are there, but we have to look at those closely. So this is just the first step in the process.
I recommend to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion to approve the resolution directing administration to, anyways, it's a motion made by Mr. Bryant, seconded by Ms. Schoenfelter. Any further discussion on this?
So what's,
We do this, this has to happen every year. I have a Goodhue County Interest report Thursday. We're doing the same thing, because if you don't do this and you end up needing to make reductions, you cannot, correct?
Did it last year.
Yeah.
That should be done.
timing then? If you
Yeah.
don't do it now and you need to make reductions, you have to wait for another board meeting to approve this?
It just gets really messy if you don't have, if we haven't talked about this, and again, just kind of get going on the process, because ultimately, I don't remember the exact timelines because I didn't look at the ULA thing right here now, but there's different steps that gotta be made along the way.
Certainly, so it's a matter of just being in process.
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? All right. Roll call vote here, Therese,
Aye.
Rachel.
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Jeremy,
Aye.
and I will also vote aye. Resolution for directing the administration to make the recommendation passes. All right, next up, we'll do the budget presentation.
Chris is gonna walk us through this. So we had a finance committee meeting the other day where we went through. So this will be pretty much very similar to what we shared at that time.
Apologize, I just find it. All right, Lisa, I'm gonna have you share it that way. Stop sharing. All right, so this is the budget presentation I've used over the past several years. Don't typically put this together for a revised budget, but seeing as how it wasn't put together for the adopted budget, I decided to put it together for the revised budget. So we'll just kind of plunk through it here. I'm gonna jump straight to page 4, which is enrollment. You could jump to page 4, Lisa. Perfect. So enrollment is the single most important factor in determining the school district's general fund revenues. The chart in the graph below show our historical enrollment over the past 5 years, or 6 years, excuse me, and our estimated enrollment for the current fiscal year 26. So you can see we've had gradual decline over the past several years. The average has been right around 3%. Which certainly has some challenges when trying to balance the budget.
So that 3% equates to 60 to 75 kids.
Absolutely. Moving on to the next page, page 5, for the general fund. The general fund is used to account for the district's normal operations, salaries, wages for teachers, paras, custodial, secretaries, admin. It's also used to account for transportation, curriculum purchases, and most facility repairs are also charged to the general fund.
Is there any way we could make that fill up the screen so people can see it? Because, I mean, I brought my laptop. You guys are young and maybe you can see that, but
Oh, thank you.
yeah. Except for Jim. Hey,
A little better anyways. So to go along with the general fund, I usually like to touch on the biggest pieces when developing the revenue budget, which is pupil unit weighting and the general education basic formula allowance. So the basic formula allowance for fiscal year 26 is $7,481 per pupil unit. What are pupil units? You can see below the kindergarten. A kindergartner generates 1 pupil unit. Elementary student generates 1 pupil unit, and then our secondary students generate an extra 0.2. So a secondary student actually generates just under $9,000. When you put that together with the information on the previous slide for enrollment, you can calculate our basic general education formula allowance, which is our single most, our largest line item in the general fund at just over 18 million. On the bottom of that page, you can see the historical basic formula allowance over the past 10 years or so. Historically, this has not kept up with inflation. It's put a lot of pressure on districts locally to cover the gap. And then on the very bottom there, with the past legislative session, recently they implemented a floor of 2% and a cap of 3% to the basic formula allowance, which does help for budgeting moving forward.
And that's in place now. The legislature could elect to change that.
Correct.
So it's in place now, but it's not guaranteed.
Absolutely.
So is the formula allowance a function specific to our district?
No, it's a statewide, it's a consistent number for everybody.
Moving on to the next page. The primary driver for financial health for school districts is the unassigned fund balance category. We have a formal unassigned fund balance policy that calls for unassigned fund balance of 5%. At June 30th, 2025, the district ended with an unassigned fund balance policy of just under 21%. And we are projecting the unassigned fund balance to, at the end of fiscal year 26, to be just over 20%. The state average in fiscal year 24 was 24% across the state for unassigned fund balances, and the Big 9 districts averaged just under 22% for unassigned fund balance. So for a district this size, I would say 15 to 25% is a good range for operating. The 5% policy is certainly not where we want to operate. Typically, when you get down to that range, cash flow starts to become a problem.
Chris, can we forecast like 2 years, 3 years, what the lost revenue will be based on a 3% decrease in enrollment versus a 3% increase for the formula allowance, and how that would impact our unassigned fund balance?
A person can do that, but the difficulty is there's so many other factors that go into it that are subject to change within the legislature. So
Sure, but if you focus on just those variables, there's already somewhat of an objective value that you could use to justify fund balance larger than our minimum.
yeah, I don't think any of us are, I say us, Chris and
We
I,
will put together a projection model, but like Bob said, especially beyond 3 years, it's extremely difficult to try and pin that down. Certainly 2 years, I think we could get a good look at, but 4 to 5 of the projection models are very rough to.
And that was an arbitrary value, like, yeah, at least 2 to 3 years.
Absolutely.
Chris, some of the, and I apologize ahead of time if I'm putting you on the spot here, and I don't know if you can also, some of the other places you've worked, what was the minimum fund balance that they recommended at their, in your other districts?
My previous district had a range, an operating range, not necessarily a minimum, and that was 10 to 20.
Okay.
My district prior to that was 5%. 5% is very common.
The other thing that you'll notice is that typically the smaller the school district, the larger the percentage, because the numbers just end up getting wonky. Because in my former district, which is much, much smaller here, we were operating at a 50% fund balance, but the numbers were just a lot smaller.
Due to fluctuating class sizes?
Well, no, it wasn't fluctuating class sizes, it's just that there's a baseline amount of dollars that you need to be able to cash flow things. And if the state or if something happens with your revenue flow, one year, this is quite a long time ago, but at one point, when you ended up with getting zero, or in one case, you ended up clawing a little bit back, you had to have some fund balance to be able to carry you through. Otherwise, you were borrowing money and it was costing so much to be able to operate. So that was no fun.
Jumping to the next page, page 7, for our general fund revenues. 72% of our general fund budget comes in the form of state aids. So like Bob mentioned, we are very sensitive to what goes on in St. Paul. With the state's budget issues, it is a little concerning. Looking forward, if they do make cuts, what does that mean for us locally? Because we don't have a way to generate more revenue locally without going to the taxpayers. The other piece I like to mention here would be comparing the total general fund revenues in 24-25, generating just under 41 million, comparing that to our revised budget in the column on the far left of just over 4.6. That's the effective decline in enrollment. That essentially means that our revenues in the general fund are going to be relatively flat, even with state aid increases. So the decline in enrollment really negates the state aid increases. So it does make it challenging for budgeting. Jumping to the next page, which is our general fund.
Sorry, one more question. Do we know how much of the state aid is subsidized by the federal government?
It's a relatively small portion. I think for our district, it's only what, 4%, 46?
So if you jump back to that revenue slide, our federal aids that we receive in the general fund is that 1.72%.
Right.
So,
But does that encompass all of the federal aid assigned to our state, or are there additional subsidies provided to the state directly, that the state spreads that out?
So those funds, whether they flow through the state or not, will be recognized as federal funds,
It would be regardless.
regardless.
The short question here is, there's concerns about whether or not we're going to get continued federal funding, and if we just started assuming we weren't, that's just the value that I was considering.
Yeah, no, and
there's very few federal grants that flow directly to school districts. It's usually, almost in all cases, flows through the state to us. On the next slide, we have our general fund expenditures by program. We spend 68% of our budget is used towards instruction. The largest category obviously is general elementary and secondary instruction at 38%, followed by special ed at 21%. Again, I'll highlight our audited fiscal year actuals on the far right, 37 million compared to our revised budget at about 40 million. Typically, if you're not making budget adjustments, you can plan for about a 4 or 5% increase to your general fund expenditures. Both the revenues and expenditures in the general fund are a little bit elevated due to the flight path grant that was not included in the adopted budget. So That's why you're seeing a bit of a jump in the expenditures. On the next page, looking at general fund expenditures by object, we are a service organization, so it's no surprise that 63% of our budget is used towards salaries and benefits. The next biggest piece of the pie there would be purchase services, which is primarily going to be services provided by GCED and also transportation services.
So again, it still rolls into personnel, almost everything.
Moving on to the next page there, we're gonna transition to the food service fund. We serve roughly 2,500 meals a month between breakfast and lunch at 8 sites. One of the big changes to the food service program a couple of years ago was the Universal Free School Meals Program, which allows 1 free breakfast and 1 free lunch to each student, regardless of their socioeconomic status. A second meal or a la carte items would then be charged at the USDA rates, which is, I believe, $4.50 at the currently. So really with the food service fund, there isn't really any major changes. We're hovering right around $2 million in revenues. And if you flip to the next page, looking at expenditures, really pretty balanced with $2 million in expenditures. So roughly balanced with our revenues and expenditures. We also have a healthy fund balance in Fund 2. So we're sitting pretty in Fund 2. Transitioning to community ed, excuse me, which is used for enrichment, early childhood activities, adult basic education, school readiness, and school age care. Community ed does have a little bit of local levy and state aids, but it's primarily a fees for services fund. And you can see that 63% of our revenue budget in Fund 4 comes from local fees for service. Transitioning to the next page, which would be our community ed expenditures. Really pretty similar to the prior years. We are projecting our expenditures go down a little bit, but overall the fund is healthy and no concerns with Fund 4. Transitioning to the next page, which is our debt service fund, which we use to account for our principal and interest payments on our outstanding debts. The debt service fund is a mix of revenues in the form of aids and levies. The primary aid component is the school building bond agricultural credit, which for qualifying ag land provides a 70% credit to qualify in ag land, which was a big deal for Greater Minnesota about 6 years ago when it was enacted. We're projecting about 1.6 million in revenues and expenditures of about 1.6 million, so balanced there, and maintaining our $964,000 fund balance in funds, the debt service fund. On the bottom there, we have our debt service schedule. We currently have 2 outstanding bonds. The first one is a building bond that was voter approved and in 2016. And the second one is an LTFM bond that was not a voter approved bond and did not have a tax impact. So when that LTFM bond is paid off, the $140,000 then shifts back to the general fund to use for projects as they come up. The next page there, property taxes. This is one of 2 formats that I typically use. This particular format, I usually recommend starting at the very bottom. You have the voter approved category and the other category. Those are the 2 categories that a property tax owner would see on their truth and taxation statement. From there, you can drill down into the individual areas and see what's actually causing a change in your individual taxes. And then finally, the last 2 pages are the summaries. The first page is for the general fund and the second page would be for the other funds. The The most important thing with this whole document is to understand that very first line, the unassigned fund balance category. In that top right-hand corner, you can see our unassigned fund balance is projected to go up about $300,000. The second most important data point on this page would be the bottom right-hand corner, which would be our total general fund surplus, which is about $76,000. You can have a deficit in the general fund and still be a healthy budget if that unassigned category is still maintained. You can see in the restricted categories, kind of in the center, we do have some healthy balances for long-term facility maintenance, for compensatory, which would be kind of early intervention type things, and a few other smaller ones for staff development and things like that. So as we spend those balances down, it could push us into a deficit in a future year, which wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily. And then the final page there has fund balance activity for food service fund, for community ed, debt service, and some custodial funds. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
So with that, we're always generally conservative as we go through, so we're, our revenues, we kind of understate, and your expenditures overstate a little bit, because it's always better to end up in a better position than a worse position. But my recommendation that the board approves the revised budget as presented. So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Bryant, seconded by Mr. Koenig. Any discussion on the revised budget? All right. Jeremy? Aye. Therese?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Kayla?
Aye.
I will also vote aye. Revised, excuse me one second, revised budget is approved.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
And Bob? Chris goes to work.
Next up, annual review of policies.
So on here, on an annual basis, there's several policies that just need to be noted and reviewed. So those three are the student discipline policy, public data requests, and the crisis management policy. There are no changes to those policies, so it's my recommendation that we approve those as reviewed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Bryan, seconded by Ms. Schoenfelder. That was you, Rachel. All right. Any discussion on those? Jennifer, were you okay with that? Oh, okay, all right, fantastic. Why don't you start off the vote?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Kayla?
Aye.
Jeremy? Aye. Therese?
Aye.
And Rachel?
Aye.
I will also vote aye. Policy review is approved. Number 5, teachers collective bargaining agreement.
So we worked with the teachers union, going back and forth. We ended up coming to an agreement. The primary pieces there that are kind of the big picture pieces are explained on my comments there. So it's a 2.5% increase to the salary schedule in year 1, 3% in year 2, and then a 12% increase on their insurance each of those years. Overall, package, if you add year 1 and year 2, comes out as a 10.6% increase. So the teachers have ratified and approved the contract on their side. It'll be my recommendation that we do the same on the board side.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Tiff, seconded by Mr. Koenig. Any discussion on this?
I'll just add, it was very good discussion. First time I've been with negotiations with that bargaining union. We did say no to some things that they asked for, and gave them some things that they were looking for. But I think that one, overall, they negotiated in good faith, and they brought back some ideas. We brought back our ideas, and we were very comfortable come into an agreement with it.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? All right. Kayla, why don't you start us off?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Therese?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And I will also vote aye. Teachers collective bargaining agreement is passed. Public summary of superintendent mid-year evaluation. Me. So I'll read that out loud. The Reading School Board met in closed session on December 15th, 2025 for the purpose of conducting a mid-year superintendent evaluation. The evaluation was focused on two main goals, budget and strategic planning. All individual board members were given a chance to voice concerns and or praise the superintendent's performance. Our overall opinion was that things are moving in the right direction and Superintendent Joshik is on the right track to meet or exceed the goals set forth. We look forward, as a board, we look forward to supporting the superintendent, the school district, and community of Red Wing throughout the remainder of the school year and beyond.
I will make a motion to approve the public summary.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Tiff, seconded by Ms. Anderson. Therese?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Kayla?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
And I will also vote aye. Mid-year summary is approved. Said that. Upcoming
No,
meeting.
we have
Nope.
number 7 there. Resolution for the,
I thought that was the amendment, that was all, or was that?
no, that's what we had.
That's what.
Oh, that's what we added, I apologize. 3 was all. All right. Number 7, resolution of board of directors certificate of incumbency.
So we have some accounts with Wells Fargo, and there were a number of prior employees who were on that account. So we just, it was a cleanup issue. So there's 4 or 5 names that got removed, and then the only ones that will be on there right now would be Chris Mubit and myself. And my recommendation that we approve that resolution.
All right. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Schoenfelter, seconded by Ms. Anderson to approve the board of directors certificate of incumbency. Jeremy?
Aye.
Therese?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Kayla?
Aye.
And I will also vote aye. Resolution passes. All right, next up, upcoming meetings. So I've got Tuesday, February 10th for the next workshop, 5 o'clock. Yep. All right. Is there any topics that anyone wants to discuss?
I have a couple of things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask again to have the fund balance policy put on the agenda to discuss. And then I also thought it'd be interesting to have the Fast Bridge results maybe on there since those have been done, just to.
I don't think they're ready yet. 'Cause there's,
The window closes at the end of next week. I will have some, I'm gone all of next week. Okay, so I'll have some ready because I'll be back for like less than a day before the board meeting. I can have like preliminary, but it won't be in depth.
So I guess I'll second that request, at least for our next meeting, public meeting,
Yeah.
regular meeting, just to have, how we compare with our goals and the strategic plan.
Yeah, because the window closes next Friday for the winter Fast Bridge.
So the 24th would maybe be the regular meeting.
The regular
More
board meeting.
reasonable.
I can give you a more reasonable in-depth with like the growth percentiles and all of that by then, but I wouldn't be able to have it super in-depth by the 10th. And you wouldn't actually end up with anything ahead of time either.
24th would be good.
So 24th, next board meeting. All right. We will approve that. Reasonable, sorry. All right, any other topics?
At the convention, several of us went to workshops that were interesting. I was just wondering if it would be a good idea to maybe discuss some of the topics of the things that we learned about. I know that communications was one that came up for several of us. Cell phone
Self-evaluation.
policy came up.
Yeah.
Self-evaluation, yeah. I mean, it doesn't all have to be next month, but just to add some of those things to our workshop calendar would be great.
It would probably be more appropriate at a workshop
Yeah.
than a meeting.
Self-evaluation, cell phone, what was the other one?
Communication and engaging the community.
Okay,
So there's AI usage.
all right, we got those down. There's nothing further. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
Motion by Ms. Schoenfeld, seconded by Mr. Koenig. All those in favor of adjournment?
I,
Meeting adjourned.
Jim, we were lost.